If there's one thing I see over and over again in my practice, it's this: people are doing too much of the wrong things and not enough of the simple things that actually work. They chase supplements with long labels, complicated protocols, expensive powders, yet they ignore one small daily habit that can completely change how their body feels, moves, and ages. Today I want to talk to you about 5 grams a day. Just 5 grams, not a drug, not a hormone, something natural your body already understands. As we get older, one of the biggest challenges our bodies face is something most people never see on a blood test and rarely talk about in everyday life, yet it quietly affects everything we do. That problem is chronic inflammation, not the kind of inflammation you feel when you twist an ankle or cut your finger, but a low-grade, constant inflammatory state that slowly wears the body down over years. This type of inflammation is subtle. It doesn't scream at you right away. Instead, it whispers. You wake up feeling stiff. Your knees take longer to loosen up. Your lower back feels tight for no clear reason. Your muscles feel sore even when you haven't done much. You may notice that your energy is lower, your motivation isn't what it used to be, and recovery takes longer than it did years ago. This is not just getting old. This is inflammation interfering with how your body heals, repairs, and regenerates itself. Inside your body, inflammation affects the joints, the muscles, the nervous system, and even the brain. When inflammation is high, muscles don't respond well to exercise. Protein synthesis slows down. That means even if you're eating well and moving your body, your muscles struggle to rebuild. This is one of the reasons people lose strength as they age, even when they're trying to do the right things. Inflammation also makes joints feel thick and achy. It reduces lubrication inside the joints, increases sensitivity in the nerves, and makes normal movement feel uncomfortable. This is why many people begin to avoid activity. And once movement decreases, inflammation increases even more. It becomes a vicious cycle. Now here's the important part. When you consistently support your body with the right daily habit, just a small amount every day, you begin to interrupt that cycle. When inflammation starts to calm down at the cellular level, something very powerful happens. The nervous system relaxes. Muscles begin to receive better signals from the brain. Blood flow improves. Oxygen delivery improves. Nutrients get into the cells more efficiently, and waste products are removed more easily. People often notice this first as a general sense of relief. They wake up and feel less stiff. They move more freely. Their joints don't complain as much when they stand up, walk, or climb stairs. This isn't masking pain. This is the body functioning the way it was designed to. Inflammation also plays a major role in fatigue. When the body is inflamed, it uses more energy just to maintain balance. This leaves less energy for strength, movement, and mental clarity. When inflammation decreases, energy becomes available again. People often tell me they feel lighter, clearer, and more capable throughout the day. Another overlooked effect of chronic inflammation is its impact on the brain. Inflammation affects neurotransmitters, focus, and mood. This is why people with high inflammation often feel foggy, irritable, or unmotivated. When inflammation drops, the brain works more efficiently. Concentration improves. Mood stabilizes. Motivation returns. And when you feel better mentally, you naturally move more, which further reduces inflammation. What's remarkable is how small, consistent actions can lead to these changes. The body doesn't need extremes. It needs signals of safety and support. A simple daily habit taken consistently tells the body you are supported. You can heal, you can rebuild. Over time, this reduction in inflammation protects muscle tissue. It helps preserve strength. It allows muscles to respond again to light resistance, walking, and everyday movement. This is crucial because muscle is one of the most powerful anti-aging tools we have. Healthy muscle reduces stress on joints, improves balance, protects against falls, and supports metabolism. Lower inflammation also means better circulation. Better circulation means warmer hands and feet, healthier tissues, and faster healing. It means nutrients get where they need to go, and inflammation doesn't pool in weak areas like the knees, hips, and lower back. And here's something very important to understand. This process doesn't happen overnight, but it also doesn't require months of suffering. Many people begin to feel subtle improvements within weeks as long as they stay consistent. The key is not to overthink it, not to stack too many supplements, not to chase trends, just consistency. The body thrives on rhythm. When you give it the same supportive signal every day, it adapts in a positive way. Inflammation gradually settles, systems rebalance, movement becomes easier, confidence increases, and once you feel better, you're more likely to move, stretch, walk, and stay active. That activity further lowers inflammation, creating a powerful upward spiral instead of a downward one. Reducing chronic inflammation isn't about chasing youth. It's about restoring function. It's about waking up without dread, moving without fear, and living without constant discomfort. When inflammation is under control, the body remembers how to heal itself, and that is where true health begins, quietly, steadily, and naturally, one day at a time. One of the most misunderstood reasons people struggle to gain strength and muscle as they age has nothing to do with effort, willpower, or even protein intake. It comes down to energy, specifically how well the body can produce and use energy at the cellular level. Every movement you make, from standing up out of a chair to climbing stairs or lifting groceries, depends on energy inside your cells. And that energy is produced in tiny structures called mitochondria. Think of mitochondria as the power plants of your body. When they work well, muscles respond, strength improves, and recovery happens naturally. When they don't, everything feels harder than it should. As we age, mitochondrial function naturally declines. This doesn't mean the body is broken, but it does mean it becomes less efficient. Muscles don't contract as powerfully. Signals from the brain to the muscles slow down. Recovery after activity takes longer. And even when people exercise, they often don't see results because the muscles simply don't have the energy they need to adapt. This is why so many seniors say, I try to exercise, but nothing changes. It's not laziness. This is not lack of discipline. It's a lack of usable cellular energy. When cellular energy is low, muscle protein synthesis suffers. This is the process by which muscles repair and rebuild themselves after use. Without enough energy, this process becomes inefficient. Muscles break down faster than they build up, leading to weakness, loss of tone, and poor endurance. Now here's the important part. When you support your body in a way that improves cellular energy production, muscles begin to respond again, not overnight, but progressively, predictably, and safely. With improved mitochondrial function, muscle fibers receive more energy during movement. This allows for stronger contractions, better coordination, and improved endurance. Simple activities like walking, light resistance exercises, or bodyweight movements suddenly feel more effective. The same effort produces better results. People often notice that movements feel smoother, balance improves, legs feel more stable, arms feel stronger. This isn't because they're pushing harder, it's because their cells are finally producing enough energy to do the job properly. Another key benefit of improved cellular energy is faster recovery. When energy production is optimized, muscles repair themselves more efficiently. Soreness doesn't linger as long. Fatigue fades more quickly. This encourages people to stay active instead of resting too much out of fear of pain. And staying active is crucial. Movement sends signals to the muscles telling them to stay alive, strong, and responsive. When muscles don't receive those signals, they weaken rapidly. This is why inactivity accelerates aging far more than age itself. Better cellular energy also improves the connection between the nervous system and the muscles. The brain communicates with muscles through electrical signals. These signals require energy. When energy is low, that communication becomes sloppy. Movements feel uncoordinated. Strength feels inconsistent. Reaction time slows. As cellular energy improves, this communication sharpens. muscles fire more efficiently, posture improves, people feel more confident in their movements. This reduces the risk of falls, which is one of the greatest threats to independence later in life. Muscle is not just about strength, it's about survival. Healthy muscle supports joints, protects bones, stabilizes the spine, and helps regulate blood sugar. It acts like a reservoir that absorbs stress and shock during movement. When muscle is weak, joints take the load, leading to pain and degeneration. Improved cellular energy allows muscles to reclaim their role as the body's primary support system. This reduces strain on the knees, hips, shoulders, and lower back. Over time, pain decreases not because it's masked, but because the body is functioning more efficiently. There's also a metabolic advantage. Muscle tissue is highly metabolically active. The more healthy muscle you maintain, the better your body manages glucose, fats, and hormones. This helps reduce inflammation and supports long-term health. It's all connected. What I want you to understand is that muscle growth after 50 or 60 does not require extreme workouts or punishing routines. It requires giving the body the internal resources it needs to respond to gentle, consistent movement. Small improvements in cellular energy compound over time. Strength builds gradually. Endurance improves. Daily tasks become easier. Confidence grows. And when people feel stronger, they naturally move more, creating a powerful, positive cycle. This is how the body was designed to work. Not through force, but through support. Not through extremes, but through consistency. When you restore cellular energy, you're not just building muscle, you're restoring communication, resilience, and vitality. You're giving your body permission to adapt again. One of the most frustrating things people experience as they get older is stubborn fat that simply refuses to go away, no matter how carefully they eat or how much they try to move. This is especially true around the abdomen, hips, and lower back. Many people blame calories, willpower, or genetics, but in reality, there is a much deeper issue at play, and that issue is inflammation. Fat storage is not just about food. It is a protective response when the body feels stressed, inflamed, or unsafe at a physiological level. It holds on to fat. Fat is not the enemy. It is the body's insurance policy. The problem begins when chronic inflammation tells the body to stay in that protective mode all the time. As we age, inflammation tends to rise quietly. Blood sugar becomes harder to control, insulin sensitivity decreases, hormonal signals become less clear. All of these changes tell the body one thing: conserve energy, store fat, and avoid risk. This is why so many people feel like their metabolism has slowed down, when in reality their body is simply responding to internal stress signals. Inflammation interferes directly with fat metabolism. When inflammation is high, fat cells become resistant to signals that tell them to release stored energy. Even if you eat less, the body resists letting go. This is why extreme dieting often backfires, leading to fatigue, muscle loss, and even more fat storage over time. When inflammation begins to decrease, something very important shifts. The body no longer feels under threat. Stress hormones calm down, insulin sensitivity improves. Cells become more receptive to signals that encourage fat burning instead of fat storage. People often notice that their body composition begins to change without drastic measures. The waistline slowly reduces, clothing fits better, the body feels lighter and more mobile. This isn't about rapid weight loss, it's about restoring metabolic balance. Lower inflammation also allows muscles to do their job more effectively. Muscle tissue plays a major role in fat metabolism. Healthy muscle pulls glucose out of the bloodstream, reducing the need for insulin and lowering fat storage signals. When inflammation blocks muscle function, fat gain becomes more likely. When inflammation drops, muscles re-engage and fat burning becomes more natural. Another important factor is energy efficiency. When cells produce energy more effectively, the body doesn't need to store excess fuel. Fat is stored energy. When energy production improves, the demand for storage decreases. This is why improving cellular health has such a powerful impact on body fat, even without intense exercise. Inflammation also affects appetite and cravings. When the body's inflamed, it often craves quick energy, sugars, refined carbohydrates, and processed foods. These foods temporarily calm stress signals, but ultimately increase inflammation, creating a cycle that is hard to break. As inflammation decreases, cravings tend to settle. People naturally make better food choices without forcing themselves. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of fat loss. When the body is balanced, discipline becomes less necessary. The body begins to guide you toward healthier behaviors automatically. It's also important to understand that fat around the abdomen is not just cosmetic. Visceral fat is metabolically active and contributes to inflammation itself. This means excess fat creates more inflammation, which leads to more fat storage. Breaking this cycle requires addressing inflammation first, not just calories. When inflammation decreases, visceral fat becomes less active, hormonal signaling improves, the body becomes more responsive to movement, walking, light resistance, and daily activity. Fat loss becomes a side effect of better function, not a constant struggle. This is why chasing quick fixes rarely works. Extreme diets, excessive cardio, and fat-burning supplements often increase stress and inflammation, pushing the body further into storage mode. Sustainable fat reduction comes from creating an internal environment where the body feels safe enough to let go. As inflammation lowers, movement becomes easier and more enjoyable. Joints feel better, energy improves. People naturally move more throughout the day. This increase in non-exercise activity plays a huge role in fat reduction, especially for seniors. Fat loss after 50 or 60 is not about punishment, it's about cooperation. When you support the body properly, it responds slowly, steadily, and intelligently. Over time, reduced inflammation leads to better blood sugar control, improved circulation, and healthier hormone balance. These changes reinforce each other. The body begins to operate as a coordinated system again, instead of a collection of struggling parts. What matters most is patience and consistency. Fat that accumulated over years does not disappear overnight, but when inflammation is addressed, the direction changes. Instead of fighting your body, you begin working with it. This is how lasting fat reduction happens, not through force, but through balance. When the body is no longer inflamed, it no longer needs to protect itself with excess fat. And when that happens, the body naturally becomes leaner, stronger, and more resilient with time. One of the greatest misunderstandings about health and aging is the belief that big changes require big effort. In reality, the body responds best to small, consistent signals repeated day after day. This is especially true as we get older. Consistency, not intensity, is what determines long-term strength, mobility, and independence. The human body is designed to adapt. It adapts to stress, to inactivity, and to support. When the body receives chaotic signals, sporadic effort, extreme routines, long breaks, it becomes confused and defensive. But when it receives steady, predictable support every single day, it relaxes and begins to improve. This is why consistency is so powerful. When you do something small and supportive daily, the nervous system begins to trust that signal. Muscles stay engaged. Joints remain lubricated. Circulation improves. The body no longer feels like it has to conserve energy or protect itself from perceived threats. Over time, this leads to real functional strength. Functional strength is not about lifting heavy weights or pushing limits. It's about being able to stand up from a chair without hesitation, walk with confidence, carry groceries without strain, and maintain balance when you turn or step off a curb. These abilities determine independence far more than muscle size or appearance. When people lose consistency, they lose these abilities quickly. Inactivity leads to muscle loss, joint stiffness, and reduced coordination. This isn't because the body is fragile, it's because the body adapts to what it's given. When it's given rest and inactivity, it becomes efficient at being inactive. But when you give it consistent daily support, even in small amounts, it adapts in the opposite direction. Consistency improves balance by strengthening the small stabilizing muscles that protect the joints and spine. These muscles don't respond well to occasional intense effort. They respond to regular, gentle activation. Walking, light resistance, stretching, and daily movement keep these systems awake and responsive. Posture also improves with consistency. Stronger muscles around the hips, core, and upper back support the spine more effectively. This reduces strain on the neck, shoulders, and lower back. People often stand taller without realizing it. Breathing becomes easier. Movement feels smoother and more controlled. Confidence grows quietly through this process. When your body feels reliable, fear decreases. Fear of falling, fear of pain, fear of movement, and fear is one of the biggest reasons people stop moving as they age. Once fear takes over, the body stiffens, movement becomes guarded, and weakness accelerates. Consistency breaks that pattern by building trust between the mind and the body. Mental clarity also benefits from consistent habits. The brain thrives on routine. Predictable daily actions reduce cognitive load and stress. When the body feels supported, the brain doesn't have to stay in a constant state of alert. This improves focus, mood, and emotional resilience. Over time, consistent habits create momentum. You don't have to think about them. You don't have to motivate yourself every day. They become part of who you are, and that's when real change becomes sustainable. Another important aspect of consistency is recovery. When supportive habits are done daily, recovery improves because the body is never pushed into extremes. There's less soreness, fewer setbacks, and less need for long rest periods. This allows people to stay active year-round instead of cycling between effort and exhaustion. Consistency also protects independence. Independence means choice. The choice to live where you want, move how you want, and care for yourself without constant assistance. Strength, balance, and coordination are the foundations of that freedom. Every small, consistent action you take is a vote for independence. It's not about perfection. Missing a day doesn't erase progress. What matters is returning to the rhythm. The body is forgiving when it senses long-term commitment instead of short-term pressure. This approach also reduces stress. The body doesn't feel overwhelmed. Stress hormones remain lower. Sleep improves. Appetite stabilizes. All of these factors support strength and longevity. As the weeks and months pass, the benefits compound. Strength builds slowly but steadily. Movement becomes easier. Pain decreases. Energy improves. People often realize they're doing more without trying harder. This is the beauty of consistency. It works quietly in the background, reshaping the body over time. Aging does not require surrender. It requires strategy. And the most effective strategy is simple, repeatable support that respects the body's natural rhythms. When you commit to consistency, you're not chasing youth, you're protecting function. You're choosing stability over struggle, confidence over fear, and independence over limitation. And when the body feels supported every day, it responds with resilience. That is how strength is maintained. That is how mobility is preserved, and that is how quality of life is protected for years to come.